you found this video, you fit into one of three categories. 1. You're losing because your teams are dying and you don't know what's happening. 2. You don't know how to make an impact when the game feels lost before it starts. And number 3, you aren't winning as much as you think you deserve to because your teams just aren't on your level. In this video, I'll give you a change that can fix all 3 of these issues. I'm Suluwu, and today we're going to talk about how to win every game of Pokémon UNITE. I have 3 points that will cover everything you need to know about how to win more and more consistently in Pokémon UNITE. So before we start, let's smash the like button and get 300 likes for the video. Let's make sure YouTube knows that you're also subbed to the channel and have notifications on, and of course, comment your win rate so you can have better teammates for the rest of the day. So as we jump into this, what needs to happen, right? What's the secret sauce? Well, everything starts with point 0 or point 1. As I like to say, there is no secret sauce. Yeah, I know. It's a bit of a disappointment, but you need to change one key thing before we can start. Before you can win every game, you need to change your mindset, your attitude. And there's a simple reason why. You can't win if you're thinking about why you're losing in a blaming context. If you blame everything about anyone and anything but yourself, you're not going to understand how to win. Because winning, it's a formula, it's a concept. You need to be able to break it down, and you can't break it down if you're clouding yourself with emotions and anger about the previous game. You might find yourself in video games that are pretty much unwinnable, and when they are unwinnable, you're not going to be able to understand why, and then hence you go and blame a teammate and you never evolve or improve off that game. So what I'm trying to say is that if you don't change your mindset, it's super hard to actually find consistent and good improvement in games like Pokémon UNITE and other MOBA games. And that's what I'm trying to say to you today. You need to open your mind and become an open-minded player, especially when it comes to finding out why you lost the game. If we look at point 1, you're losing because your teammates are dying and you don't know what's happening. You don't know what's happening. And you believe that your teammates are dying, that's why you lost. So you should look at what is happening in the game and why it caused you to lose. What was most effective for the other team? And after every game, you can think about that concept and learn a bit more about it. And when you're learning about it, it makes you a better player. For point 2, you don't know how to make an impact when the game feels lost before it even starts. This is a very easy one. It's as simple as looking at this with a simple mindset shift. Okay, maybe the game isn't lost before it starts. What made it feel like it was? Was it the picks in the game? Was it the positioning of your teammates during the first fight? Was it because of the beginning 30 seconds? All of these simple things do matter, and if you learn from them and understand what's going on, you're going to be able to rapidly improve, because it's just like building a house. You have to start with the foundation. You then have to build some walls, strong, sturdy, reliable walls, and then you have to cover yourself in the elements. I'll go back to this analogy in a bit, but for now, let's talk about the foundation. The foundation is built off your understanding of Pokémon UNITE. You need to put bricks down and strong cement to glue it to the ground so you know what's actually happening in the game. You need to understand why you're losing, and that's the building the fundamental knowledge you have on the game. So when we look at point 3, you aren't winning as much as you think because you deserve better teammates, because your team is on a worse level than you. You have to understand, okay, maybe they are, but maybe that's because I'm in the game and I'm meant to carry them, or I'm meant to make a difference in the game. They aren't on my level because I'm not looking at it the right way. If I'm on a higher level, I have to be able to make a difference in these games. So you should look at what is stopping you from making a difference in these games. Is it because you're unable to attack them because they have too much CC? Is it because they have too many tanks? Is it because your character selection wasn't right? Or did you make bad decisions during the game? All these points come up to a key culmination of why you lost, and it isn't necessarily your teammates. Even it's really easy to blame them. I do it all the time as well, and I can understand why. The games where you have a 0 and 5 top laner and a 0 and 8 bot laner, like within the first 3 minutes of the game, and it can feel lost from the start. But what I'm trying to say is, if you open your mind past this, you're gonna find constant and steady improvement by building on your foundation. You can gain something from every game. You don't need to per se win the game to actually win the game. If you won the game, great, that's excellent and good for you and you're happy. But if you lost the game, see it as a learning opportunity, as an improvement and a chance to evolve yourself as a player, furthermore, by looking at what you needed to do in the game to have the victory. So now that we tackled point 1 and we're on our way to adapt and change our mindset, we need to look at, like, how do we actually make these games winnable? And of course, a lot of the times the games feel really hard. So there has to be an approach to make them better. And that's what we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about how we make the games winnable, because now we understand why we're losing. We need to know now how to get to winning. And just like figuring out what problem we have, we need to go and make that final connection to, okay, this is how we replicate the victory sequence, or how we find the victory sequence. So in this case, what I'm saying is, for point 1, you're losing because your teams are dying and you don't know what's happening. Okay, well, we need to find out what's happening. We found that out, right? Okay, we found out our team was dying and they were mispositioned at Rayquaza. How do we fix their positioning? That's when you go and you educate yourself, or you find out what feels right for you about those situations and improvements in the game. You're building on the foundations, understanding why, and then the solution is the walls. We are going to build a beautiful house together, that the walls on the outside are not only strong, but beautifully crafted with in-depth and complicated solutions that cover a multitude of situations. The reason we do this is because they're the things that you rely on to make the games winnable. The game isn't winnable if you don't understand, oh, okay, this is what I need to do to win the game. I'll give you an example. You don't understand that on the top gank, if you die, the game is going to snowball out of control. You don't know that as a jungler at the start of the game if you haven't played those matchups. But if you look at the matchup and you're experienced in it, you will be able to understand, we lost the game earlier with this exact same composition because I died to the first gank. How about I don't do that? And when you make this adjustment, the piece has changed within you. You are now all of a sudden starting to win more because you're understanding you can make every game winnable. Every game is winnable. There's a giant green dragon in the middle of the map at 2 minutes that bestows victory, almost guaranteed, on the team that takes it. So I'm just saying, it's a pretty good place to start when you're thinking about a foundation on how to win. Look at the Rayquaza and see what you can learn from it and what you need to learn after each game of a Rayquaza fight. What was the failure of that game and what was the takeaway to how you would improve that? That is how to make your games winnable. Find the solutions to the problems that we found before, and now that's how we're starting to win games, because we start to build a database of these answers of all these games of Pokémon Unite. If you're below 1,000 games of Pokémon Unite, you have so much to learn, and that's fine. As you play more and you get more familiar with the game, you will get more and more confident with finding the right solutions. And if you have over 10,000 games of Pokémon Unite, you probably already know the answers. It's time to rack your brain and find and compile them into how we solve these games. They're easily solved if you work on it and you think about it yourself. It's right there for you, and of course, there's a million other resources to help you. So don't forget, this is an incredibly important part of building the house, the walls. We can't finish it off with a roof without the walls, and more importantly, the walls are what protect us from the outside directly, in the vertical plane. Like, that's so important. It keeps heat in, whatever, right? It's also very beautiful, and that's why you want to construct beautiful solutions to your problems. Look at the problems from the previous point. After you've adjusted your mindset and started to realize, we lost because of this, find out how you solve it in an elegant and an intelligent way. Think about the game and go, all right, well, so instead of just running at them in head first in Rayquaza, let's look at a flanking opportunity. You try the next game, it didn't work, that's okay. Go and adjust the approach. Maybe I attacked the wrong target. You change the target. Oh, it's starting to work now. You're starting to see, bit by bit, the changes that you make become more and more effective in Pokemon Unite. And that would have been because of your brain and your attitude towards improving the game. So now that we know that we can make games winnable, what's this final step? What's this roof on top of this house that we've made? Well, point 3 is quite simple. You need to remain powerful in the brain. And what I mean by this is that you need to be mentally tough. You need to understand that for a portion of the games of the day that you're trying to improve and trying to win more, you need to be thinking critically about the game. You can't be going in and just thinking, oh, okay, 5 minutes, it's time to go out next. Because if you do that, you're just going to damage your mental and damage your ability to take credibility for losses and failures in the game. You need to be credible. You need to be accountable for your mistakes. And when you are, you start to win more, because that's how we build our database. That's how we understand this is right and this is wrong, through mistakes, through trial and error, through the path of fire. You can't just go into a ranked game, do whatever, win or lose, and then go, okay, let's go for the next game. If you've been doing that, well, that's costing you your win rate. You could be having a 60, maybe even 70% win rate if you've been thinking about the game logically and going, okay, this is what cost me the game, and there we go. This is how we change it. You could possibly even one day win every single game of Pokemon UNITE if you remain strong and never give up. But of course, it's hard to do this for a prolonged period of time. This is what I struggle with the most. This is the most difficult part of all these steps, to put the roof on that protects you from the elements of nature from above. You don't want to let rain into your house, so we stay strong in your mind at the whole time. Other players will tremble and give up and whatever, and you cannot let that affect you, because you are in a race with yourself. You are in a race to become the best player that you can be, not anyone else can be. And that's how you need to become better. You become better by understanding this and remaining strong when you practice. Use your games like you don't need to play for 10 hours a day. And if you do, set a good portion of that, as relaxation type of games. Don't go and play the games in a stressful manner and, get upset when you lose and whatnot, because it's just going to be unproductive. I do it all the time. I would know. I'm telling you from firsthand experience, don't follow in my footsteps here. Be better than that. Use a small portion of the day to practice intensively and learn as much as you can, and then relax. Don't worry about your win rate of those games. If you practice intensely for an hour, even 2, you're going to find a lot of improvement, because you're going to be critically analyzing why a loss happens, why a win happens, finding solutions to problems, and then constantly updating your database. So everything's improving. We're adding more foundation, we're detailing more of the walls, and we're making a bigger and better, beautiful roof. And it only will stay together if your mind is intact. So don't lose your mind, keep your cool, and win more games. It's that simple. I know many of you might feel disappointed that there isn't a secret trick or technique to instantly make you win more or win more consistently. But that's why winning is so satisfying and rewarding. The real winning is done, as you've learned from your video, inside the mind. Every single game, you hone this skill to the maximum potential every single game, and you will win more and more and more. You will continue to build upon your database and become a better player every single day. Now, you are not alone on this journey. I, just like you, work on this every day to craft myself to be a better player and a more composed Unite player. Now, of course, I don't just try to take this approach in Unite, but in my life as well, and I would recommend people to do this too. So come join the Discord to chat with fellow-minded Unite players about Pokemon Unite and anything you'd like. And if you enjoyed learning about how we can win more and against the odds, please smash the like button so we can hit those juicy 300 likes to the video. Sub to the channel, make sure you have notifications on, and comment something you learned about the video today. I'll see you all later, and best of luck in Fierce Sky Ruins.